Hello viewers and welcome to my channel. I'm your host Salim. Feel free to join me all through and don't forget to like, comment and subscribe to my channel so that you won't miss out on the content that we're going to be posting. I'm sure whatever I'll be posting is there to help you, and if you feel that that content is not for you, I'm sure you know someone that can benefit from the content that we are creating here. All we do is trying to make sure that our brothers and sisters should be able to settle well and move on quickly with life, because the life here is all about running. So without wasting a time, let me also run through whatever I'm having today. So today's video, we're going to be talking about conducting an interview, especially for people who are looking for jobs in the disability sector and aged care, because that is where I've been working for. So I have a little bit of experience, and therefore I've been managed to talk with people and they say, Salim, you know, I submitted my resume, I went for an interview, but they've never get back to me, or they say sorry, they can't hire me, or the interview was so tough, I'm sure I'm not getting the job. So today I've compiled few questions, around 10-15 there, so that we can brainstorm together, so that when you go to an interview, at least you have an idea on how to answer certain question. If the same question can come across, good luck to you. You should be able to just copy paste it, you can grab it and answer it. Or if a different question can come in between, you should be able to gauge it and say, I think this is how to answer. Because why am I saying this? I have quite relevant experience in the field, so I know a little bit of question, and also I've studied leadership and management before I went on and do accounting. So when I give you this one, it's a little bit of professional advice and also experience. Without wasting further more time, let's dive in straight to question number one. And question number one is, tell me about yourself. An interviewer can ask you, say, tell us a little bit more about yourself. Or rather than that, they can say, run me through your CV. Or they can say, who is Jen? Who is Lydia? And who is Salim? They are simply asking the same question. So how do you answer such a question? To answer such a question, you just need to break it into 3 parts. What do I mean 3 parts? You can talk about your past, that is part number 1. Part number 2, you can talk about your present. And part number 3, you can talk about the future, which is what you are planning to do. For an example, I can give you this an example as a question. You can say, in the past, you can say, I've managed to work in company. Let's start this one. In the future, you can say, in the past, you can say, I've managed to study leadership and management, and I ended up enrolling to do in community service in this college. After my enrollment, I ended up joining company A, where I did placement for a period of 6 months. From there, I've managed to get employment with company B, where I ended up working for 3 months and 5 days, or 8 years, whatever number you want to say. And then from there, I've managed to learn 1, 2, and 3, whatever you've learned during that month or during that period of time that you stayed with that company after your placement. You say, I've managed to learn this and this. So that is now present. And you say, the present now, I'm working with company C in doing this and this and this, and I look forward to working with you. That is now, when you say you look forward to, that is future. I look forward to joining your company to do this and this. Remember, things to remember is that all those companies you're listing that you work for, it's the companies that is in your resume. So that you won't mess yourself, don't mention exactly there. Just say on this period of time, I've managed to work in this and this, so that at least you mention the headline. But if you mention the dates and then they don't match, they say, hang on here, it doesn't make sense, So you have to be that specific. What about if you haven't have an experience? You just say the same. I've finished my uni, or I've finished my college, I did placement in this place, and I'm here trying to make my shot, trying to get an employment with you. I feel like you guys are the right person to enable me grow. You should praise the company, and you say, from what I've seen or observed from friends, they say this is the perfect place for you to grow, you know, and staff management and welfare is the best place. So you should be able to talk along that line, okay? So that they see that you know what you're talking about, and your resume reflect whatever you say, because people have good cover letter, people have good resume, but when they go to the interview, they fail to answer this question though. So that's the question number one. You can answer it that way. Furthermore, you can still do research on how to answer it, but that's how best I can tell you to answer. Moving forward, they can say, now that you know that, can you run me through your day? How does your day look like when you turn up for the shift? Okay? Here, the interviewer is tricking you. Want you to know exactly, do you know your job? So this is how you answer. You say, as I work in a day program, or let's say if you work in a seal house, you say the first thing I come in the morning as a seal work, a staff in seal house, I come in and I go straight away to check the clients to see if they're okay, if they're still in their bed, so I have to check them. And then I'll take an handover from morning staff, ask them if there's anything that happened throughout the night, anything that I should be knowing. Then I'll go on and check communication book, check the daily report, check the records for, or let's say community access. If they have community access, they should have the community access written in the book, or appointments. After that, we're supposed to prepare breakfast first, or get them out of bed and give them shower, feed them, take them for community access, or take them to day program. That's how you should run your day. You should show them that you know exactly what to do. And the reason number one, you should go check your client first, is because sometimes people can hand over a deceased client. So you should know that one thing of a turner for the shift is to go and check my client. So that one, they show that you know what you're doing. Number two is they say, they might ask you a question. Number three is, give us number of or any type of disability that you've been supporting. Here, because you tell them how your day look like, they wanted to know what type of disability have you ever come across, or type of client you've been supporting. You should be talking about intellectual, people with physical disability, mental illness, like autism spectrum. All those you should talk about it. Challenging behaviors, people with spine injury, Down syndromes, cerebral palsy. Those are things you should talk about it, you know. And they will say what type of client they look like. You say, oh, they always have challenging behavior. They do this, they're absconding, they do. You know, you need to be creative. You need to have done your research, even if you don't know anything, you know. Those are type of client we talk about. And they say, what do you mean by physical disability? You say people with amputated, people with brain injury, people with that. Those are example, you know, that shows that you know what you're talking about. And then they'll say, what are the rights of these clients? Do you think that clients have a right? And what are their rights? So basically, you know that clients have 5 rights, okay? Just like you have more rights, clients also have 5 rights. So you talk about the rights of client, and the rights of clients are 5. Basically, we always talk about 5 rights, like rights to be included, right to be heard, right for service, right to refuse, okay? Right for participation, rights for information. Those are types of rights the client have. Then when you go for an interview and you give those examples, they know that this guy knows what he's talking about. And then they ask you, also give us 5 rights of medication. So you know, when you go and administer medication, there's some rules you have to follow. So you have to follow right person, right image, right medication, right time, and right route. Those are 5 rights. So if you just grab those one, because you never know when they will ask you, but at least they will ask you side things. If you go do interview for aged care, if you go do interview for disability, so you should be able to know how to answer such question. Now, moving forward, they'll say, can you explain to us what do you understand by the word care plan? So simply just say this is a plan put together by the OT and whatever, outlining the care of or care to be given to the participant. This includes like things that he likes, things that he doesn't like, allergies, triggers, and how to settle down the behavior. All are in the care plan. Okay? And now they ask you, what do you understand by CP? Hey, that is personal centered approach. You say these are tailored program used to help to support client to the level best to achieve his dream and all those. They really don't want to know much. They just want to know how well do you know your job. So if you know such things, you should be able to smash the interview. Now they come to a manual handling question and they say to you, this is now is a scenario. They say, now when you turn up for a shift and the manager asks you to lift the client because the client fall on the floor and maybe the hoist is not working, and they ask you to lift the client, do you think you should lift? So that question is typically trying to check if you understand your manual handling or you've already done your manual handling certificate and you know what you're talking about. So you just say, I will humbly decline because it's not safe to lift them. So there is a procedure to be followed. So I will tell my manager or my team leader, I can't do it because WHS policy does not allow me to do the lifting unless we use appropriate equipment. And that's the answer. There's nothing much you can do. Now they go ahead and ask you another scenario. Now you've passed the question of work health and safety. Now you go to the question of bullying and harassment, and they say you turn up for the shift and one of your staff, you observe one of your staff stealing money from the client or bashing the client or doing this. What will you do? So that question you should be able to categorize as for bullying and harassment, or you observe one of the staff bullying or shouting to the another staff. What do you do? So you just say the procedure is you follow company procedure. That one will be able to protect you first, and then you say I'll talk to the other participant, the other person, so that to understand that whatever they've been doing is under bullying and harassment. Secondly, I will report to my team leader and I will do the documentation. That's the end of the story. That's the end of story. Worst case scenario, they must say, what happens if you talk to that person and they are not listening? You say, I'll follow the procedure of conflict resolution. That means I'll go someone above my team leader. That's how you can follow. Okay. Now they come to another question that most of interviewers ask you is, where do you see yourself in 5-year time? This question is technical, but they don't ask it to show that you are an ambitious guy that, don't say 5 years time, I'll be having my own company, I'll be back in Kenya. No, they don't want to hear that. Simply, they want you to answer simple like this. In 5 years time, I see myself still working under this organization with my qualification, and that I'm willing to learn more, to get more skill. I'll be looking forward to any promotion that comes my way. If at all there's an opening, I'll be glad to take it. But for now, I'm contented with my position. End of story. That's all they want to hear from you. No ifs, no if, but no, I should. No, they don't want to hear that. They just want to hear straightforward answer. Now, they ask you this one. What are the types of restriction that you understand of your witnesses? Now, this one, I need to warn you that most of the time when you get hired or you go to different company and work, don't run and go put brakes on people's wheelchair or clients' wheelchair. It is a restrictive practice. And some companies can just terminate your contract just like that because you've done a restrictive practices that is not allowed. Now, what are the type of restrictive practices? Wheelchair falls under mechanical wheelchair. So there's types of restrictive, there's seclusion, chemical, mechanical, okay, and physical restraint. So those are types of restriction that you should be aware at all time before you go to any interview, because they will ask you. even locking the door, locking the gates, those are mechanical. So you have to know which type of restriction am I talking about. Now, this is another question they ask you: how well can you handle pressure? So you have to say, during my times in uni or in college, I used to work under pressure to deliver my assessment. I used to do this, I used to do this. Even when this one happened, just give a scenario that shows that you can work well under pressure. Now, once you answer that, they ask you another question: how well can you work in a team? Here they want to know if you are a team player, and how best can you be able to work with other staff. Are you that type of guy who just feel like you know it all yourself? Here you just say, first thing first, I would like to acknowledge that working as a team is always the best than working alone, because being in a team, you should be able to learn from others what you don't know, and others can be able to learn from you. And also as a team, you can share chores, and therefore tasks can be able to be completed as soon as possible with limited stress and ability to care for one another throughout the entire shift or throughout our course of employment. Therefore, I prefer to working in a group. But in an event whereby the circumstances doesn't allow us to work in a group and the care has to be tendered by one person, I'm also flexible to able to deliver my job when needed. And that shows that you are flexible. You can work in a group and you can work alone, because there are some houses whereby care is 1-to-1 and care is 2-to-1. That means you are happy with whatever it is. You should be able to do your job. Now, the third last is this one. Now ask you, what do you know about us? This is the interview asking you, what do you know about us as a company? Now you have to ask yourself, how well did you prepare for this interview? Because before you go, you need to know things like, when did the company was formed, what's their motto, what do they believe in. You work in other companies, they believe in equality, they believe in strong whatever. You need to study the company, say this is your motto, this is how you believe, and this is the reason to why it pulled me to you. That's how you should be able to study that company before you go for an interview. Make sure you read them through internet and say, hey, it was formed in this and this, the ideology is this is what you believe in, you believe that there's always personal centered approach for everyone here, equality and all those, and everybody belongs. Such line, the company will never miss to have their own motto. That is what you base your agenda in. Lastly, they ask you about scenarios. They can say, let's say you took your client to Woolies, and then the client was crying, he wanted chips, and then you can't buy chips for the client because the parents say no. What do you do? Those are things you just say. You talk to the client. If the behavior escalates, you can notify on call to know that this is what you are facing at the moment. And worst case scenario, you can let him have his chips. He will never die anyway. And then tomorrow you document. And then what do you do after that? You do the incident report when you get back, and you have already let the on call know, so that next time they won't send you to the same shopping. They put you in the same scenario. Another scenario: what happens if the client in the community access take off his clothes or her clothes? You just say, you notify the public that to move away. You call the police. You call the on call, and you leave it, because there are some things you can't really do anything about it. So you just have to hand over. You say, hey, this is where I've reached. This is beyond me. Now I hand over to the authorities, so that they can take care of. And they say, what happens if a client or a community access managed to smash someone? You take the number of that, you call on call, you try to de-escalate the situation, you take the number of the person affected, you let the on-call know. Once you get to the house, you document the incident report. That's how you do it. And if the other person wants to call the police, or if the situation is high that needs the police, you should do it, But as much as you can, once you go out with in the community with these guys, you should be aware of your limitation at all time. So if you are a new beginner in the job, try to ask your friends types of scenarios or what happened when this happened. Another scenario is if the client overdoses or if the client miss medication. What you need to do is call poison, give them the name of the medication, give them what the client is taking medication for, and then they will advise you what to do. After that, you just do an incident report, and you've already let the on-call know what's going on. And because some of the clients, their medication is the same for lunch and evening, so sometimes the poison will tell that's not a problem. So the doctor has already right that it doesn't matter if you miss medication, just space it. Those are things you should know when you enter into a new company or with the new client. You should know that what happened if you miss medication, what happened if you oversleep, should you wake him up to take his morning medication, or should you keep him up, or should you leave him to sleep, up to what time? Those are questions you need to ask before you get into a job or before you take handover with a new client, or if they send you to new house. Those are things you need to know so that you won't find yourself in a big trouble. Okay, other than that, I got nothing to say. I say please don't forget to like, comment and subscribe to my channel so that I will be able to give you more content. And if you need me to talk about something different, just inbox me and we should be able to handle it together. Thank you, and see you in another video. Bye bye.